Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And today we're going to talk about the repercussions for the Republicans, the majority of the Republican establishment that is not backing Donald Trump through this fight. We're going to talk about exactly what is going to happen to them, and it will not be looking good if we stick together and manage to punish the people that are not acting in the best interests of their constituents. But first, I have to tell you guys about my friends over at My Patriot Supply. We're facing a very uncertain future, my friends. The next few weeks are going to set the tone for the next 4 years. And do you really want to be caught unprepared if things suddenly take a turn for the worst and Joe Biden gets inaugurated? Because you don't have to. You could start preparing today, so you will have enough emergency food, water, and other essentials on hand at all times, no matter what happens. And it's best to have at least a 1-month supply of food and water for everyone in your household. You want long-term storage food that lasts up to 25 years, so it's ready whenever you need it. That's why I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the go-to leaders for emergency preparedness, and they're the only source my family uses and trusts for our preparedness plan, and you should too. Right now, save $100 off a full 4-week supply of nutritious meals that supply 2,000 calories a day, delivered discreetly to your home. Saving $100 is impossible to pass up, especially now, so go to preparewithreadygoal.com and get ready now. That's preparewithreadygoal.com. There is no time to lose. Do it now. And it's important that we talk about what's going on within this election fight, because there's some new cases that are being brought up to the Supreme Court. It's still not over, and it's a good thing that the Republicans did the right thing and sent the dueling electors to Congress. However, they won't be able to actually count as Trump electors if the Republican establishment within Congress and within the Senate decides to cave in and fall in line to the establishment, and that's sadly what a lot of them are doing. People like Mitch McConnell have came out and congratulated Joe Biden on his victory. However, there's some people that have the guts, and it's the people that sometimes you don't always expect. Tommy Tuberville, I've criticized him in the past. I criticized him for his horrendous stances in the past on immigration. He claims he's changed. We'll see. But so far, he's proving it throughout this fight, saying that he may challenge the Electoral College count. However, other Republican senators, not so much. And the majority of them will not. There's only 2 of them right now that are up for re-election in 2022 that are actually doing the right thing. They are Ron Johnson and they are Rand Paul. Rand Paul, he's kind of a libertarian on some issues. I agree with him on a lot. I disagree with him on a good amount of things as well. But he's actually one of the few anti-establishmentarian warriors that we have in the Senate. And he's one of the more important senators, whether I agree with him on all of his social issues or not, because he is a little bit too libertarian for me on some issues. But overall, still one of the best senators. So moving forward, looking at the 2022 primary map, it's important to understand how we're going to be able to punish the senators that are not backing Donald Trump throughout this fight. And it is true. 2022 is 2 years away. And I just want to make this very clear. Just because I'm going to put a new map up does not mean I'm giving up on this fight. We're still going to get through the 2020 election. I don't want to give people the wrong idea when I'm saying this. However, moving forward, it's important that we look and see where our target should lie within the 2022 election. If our country does make it that far, that's another question. In terms of primarying the Republican establishment, this is not a prediction right here. This is the 2022 Senate map. And I know a lot of people are going to sit there and say, well, they're just going to take it from us again. That's the mentality they want you to have. That's not the mentality that you have to go in there with. Otherwise, you're going to lose every single election. And because it will be such a strong red wave, no amount of anything will be able to trump what's coming. No pun intended. So moving forward, it's important that we look into this map and see how many Republicans have been weak and spineless and how many actual senators could we gain in the 2022 election if we play our cards right, because it's many. We could gain many authentic America First conservatives and put them inside of the United States Senate, and it's very simple. And we're going to start on this map here. We're going to go from the East Coast and the West Coast as well. We're going to be doing this. We're going to fill out the states that Democrats are likely to retain. We're going to fill out the seats that have Republicans that probably should not be primaried. And then we're going to fill out the primary targets and potential pickups. And there are many of those, believe me. So we're going to start on the East Coast. It seems like Vermont. Phil Scott could run for Senate. I don't know how well he would do. Again, you look at the history of the left-wing Republicans running for Senate in these deep blue states. I mean, Bill Weld, very popular governor of Massachusetts, didn't do so well at the federal level. There's some polling that's shown Phil Scott to be a potential contender for 2022. I personally don't know if I can trust that. I don't believe he's very viable. And either way, he probably would have a very, very liberal voting record anyways. He basically endorsed Biden this election, so I don't even really care. Similar thing with Larry Hogan in Maryland. He could run. There's rumors that he will run as a true independent in the 2022 midterms, as I do believe he is term limited. However, that may not come into fruition. Either way, he's not really a conservative. We're going to put this as blue on the map, like it or not. Other seats that Democrats are likely to hold no matter what. New York, they say AOC may run in the primary in that election. That's going to be very interesting. Also, Illinois is another one where the Democrats are going to hold, as well as California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii. So these are the Democrat strongholds. Democrats are likely to hold every single one of these seats here. Colorado could be on the verge of being a safe Dem state, however, because it would be a massive red wave, judging the way that things are right now. And I think if Trump does manage to pull this out, you could still see a red wave, based on the fact you will have a lot of angry people that will realize that the system is so broken if that does happen. But that's a discussion for another time. But right now we're going under this impression right here, filling out the map for 2022. Now we have to fill out the seats for the Republicans that should not be primaried or cannot be primaried. We would have to start with David Perdue. Assuming Perdue does win in Georgia, which is not a sure thing, I say it's roughly 50-50. Georgia would be a seat where we would not be able to get until 2026. So in that regard, we have to put it red. That does not mean that I would not consider primarying David Perdue if the opportunity was there, but judging on what's happening right now, Georgia will leave that in the Republican column. Similar thing with Kentucky. We like what Rand Paul's doing. He's not perfect on every issue, but in terms of someone that has the knowledge to tackle corruption in the deep state, he was like one of the only senators, if not the only senator, to vote against swamp creatures like James Comey in the past. We're going to keep him for that reason alone. Same thing with Ron Johnson in Wisconsin. He's been a massive fighter throughout this whole election process, and there's rumors that he may retire, but for right now, we're going to put Wisconsin in the Republican column. In terms of the potential pickups, I think it's important we do these before we get to the Republicans we should primary and give a little bit of analysis. The potential pickups I see on this map: New Hampshire. This is one Sununu may run. Sununu is a little liberal on some social issues, but in terms of someone who can run and easily win, Sununu probably is going to run. He will get the nomination, like it or not, in New Hampshire. He's just that popular, and he will probably go on to serve the Republicans in the Senate. So it's important that we make him fall in line once he gets in there, because Sununu 2022 is all but inevitable for New Hampshire. Moving forward, in terms of other seats Republicans do not have right now but could potentially get, it's important that we look into the state of Nevada. Nevada, contrary to popular opinion, has been trending red for a while. It's been swinging red as well over the past couple election cycles, and this is a potential target for Republicans, especially with the anger at Sisolak. You may see a red wave push him out and potentially could put a Republican in the Senate. Hopefully we could find the most America First candidate that we can that would have a good chance at winning a general election in Nevada in order for them to be the nominee. As well as the state of Arizona, it's very possible Mark Kelly could go. And originally, before the election, I was saying, oh, Ducey would just knock him off. I don't want Ducey after this mess, and Ducey is gone full establishmentarian. Somebody like Paul Gosar, Andy Biggs, an actual conservative in the future that's fought for Trump this entire process, they would be a much better fit for the state of Arizona moving forward. So that's another potential pickup for the Republican Party here. Colorado's another one. I really am on the verge of putting this as safe Democrat. It's kind of falling in the lines more of Oregon lately than a state even like Arizona or Nevada. But in terms of Colorado, it's possible, depending on the turnout. If turnout is super low, anything could really happen, although you have a high rate of mail-in ballots in Colorado that will exist no matter with the virus or not, and that could lead to massive trouble for Republicans in the state. But either way, we'll put that as a potential pickup, even though I'm not really that confident that we'll be able to pick up Colorado in the 2022 midterms. Tom Tancredo would be a great fit for that state, but it doesn't seem like it's exactly likely to happen. But there's so many Republicans that are turning their back on Trump or are just corrupt POSs that need to go that enable the swamp. Pat Toomey in Pennsylvania. He needs to go first and foremost. He was one of the first senators to prematurely congratulate Biden. He's got to go. Same thing with Rob Portman in Ohio. Richard Burr is going to be retiring. These are primary targets. Pat Toomey's also retiring, by the way. But still, it's important that we have primary targets, as well as targeting the people in safe red states that are extremely weak, like Mike Crapo in Idaho. A very red state, very populous state at times, but has some of the weakest senators. Same thing with Utah. Now, Donald Trump, clearly the personality thing did not sit well with a lot of Mormon voters. That is true. But the fact you have Mike Lee in there, somebody who wants to increase immigration after campaigning for a decade against it, saying immigration would be a death wish for the GOP. Now he is removing the caps for H-1B visas out of the state of Utah. Absolutely ridiculous. Also, Lisa Murkowski in Alaska. She may be invincible when it comes to a write-in campaign, but in terms of the Republican Party, the fact that you have somebody in such a safe red state that votes against the interests of the Republican base so much is ridiculous. She votes roughly the same as Susan Collins does, except her state votes for Trump by 10 to 15 points, and Maine votes Democrat by 10 points. It's absolutely ridiculous, but the state of Alaska, that is another primary target we have. James Langford out of Oklahoma, extremely weak. South Dakota and North Dakota, these are another 2 seats we could pick up with an actual America First candidate, as well as the state of Kansas. These are all very rural states in the Great Plains. The populist sentiment really resonates here. Same thing with Arkansas, the state of Missouri, and Indiana, and Todd Young in Indiana. We could use massive improvements in a lot of these states, and we need to do so by primarying almost every incumbent that we possibly can. And it may be a better effort to focus a lot of our energy in places like Idaho, places like Utah, as well as certain governor seats and representative seats. But at the same time, it's important that when you have anger that's resonating this much, that you're able to go out there and primary every single incumbent that you possibly can, because such a red wave year, no matter what they decide to do with the ballot box, and you know what I mean by that, the 2022 midterms are a perfect opportunity to burn down the Republican Party in the primary and to rebuild it and replace it with an America First party. Rubio in Florida, another case, very Trumpian state, but a very liberal, establishmentarian Republican in Marco Rubio. Richard Shelby, very establishmentarian in a very populous state like Alabama. He could easily be primaried with somebody like Mo Brooks or somebody more base than Mo Brooks, and you could easily take him out there as well. Kelly Loeffler, if she wins, that's a big one you need to primary. Doug Collins would be perfect in that seat. Chuck Grassley's been there a long time. He could get Lugard up in Iowa and get primary despite his age, or he'll retire. South Carolina, that's another seat where we could have a primary target. Tim Scott, an extremely liberal Republican, almost like an SJW on certain issues. And when it comes to the economic issues, he'll be fairly right-wing and support the market. But in terms of the social issues, extremely weak when it comes to law and order in South Carolina. John Kennedy in Louisiana, that's another seat. That one I wouldn't say is much of a primary target. I haven't heard much about John Neely Kennedy down in Louisiana. I'll put that as a Republican seat for now. But either way, we have 18 primary targets. We could pick up 18 authentic conservative seats in the Senate in 2022 if we play our cards right moving forward. So looking at this, there is hope for the future of an actual conservative movement, an actual America First Republican Party in this country, because so many Republican senators won't stand up for Trump right now. They won't stand up for his voters. Guess what? They're going to pay in 2022, 2024, and 2026. That is if our country makes it that long. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, become a member, donate to the Patreon, or subscribe. Star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.